Hello, everyone, and welcome to our candidates and to our audience. I'm Janine Reed. I'm the chair of the League of Women Voters of the Uncompahgre Valley, and we cover Delta, Montrose, and Uray counties. And I'll be your moderator this evening. I'll be your moderator, Jackie. We're working very closely with DMEA to get this done. The League of Women Voters is a trusted grassroots organization, and our big thing is voter education and advocacy. We do not take endorsements supporting or opposing candidates. However, in our advocacy area, we do take positions on issues. And you're probably familiar with the ballot issue pamphlets that we've produced in the past that show pros and cons on all of the issues. I hear a rumor there may be as many as 47 ballot issues in November. So let's start studying. So what we're doing this evening is voter education. I'd like to remind everyone that the candidates have all agreed to participate under guidelines set for this forum. The guidelines are in the back of the room here if you care to see them. As a matter of courtesy, please turn off all your electronic devices, and please be aware that campaign literature or other forms of campaigning, such as buttons, I'm not seeing too many here, shirts, signs are not permitted in this area in order to maintain neutrality. We are live streaming this forum, and the recording will be available on the League website, which is lwv-uv.org, easy to find. Our forum tonight will be for the positions on the DMEA Board of Directors. DMEA's Board of Directors is made up of 9 members from all parts of the service area. The board also hires a chief executive officer to carry out the objectives of the board and to supervise the staff and the employee group. Each year, there is an election to determine representatives for 3 of DMEA's 9 board districts. All members may vote for any candidate, regardless of the district in which you reside. DMEA's Board of Directors election will be open today, May 3rd. Online ballots will open and ballots will be mailed at this time. Members can choose to vote electronically, by mail, or at the annual meeting, which is going to be on June 6th. The election will conclude with the annual meeting on that night. The candidates are District 1, I did introduce myself, didn't I? Ryan Sedgley and Toby Romero. Toby is running a little late, so hopefully he'll come on before we get too far into this. District 2 is Steve Matheny and Ken Norris, and Jesse Haywood. Jesse had a family emergency, as he's on the Front Range, so he's not able to be with us this evening, but he did submit an opening statement, which I'll read to you. And then District 5 is Kevin Williams, and he's currently the board secretary treasurer. Before we begin, let's just review some ground rules. Each candidate has 2 minutes for opening remarks. The speaking order is the way you see it now. The timekeepers, Gretchen Nikoloff and Jen Edwards, will signal candidates with colored signs marking 30 seconds and stop. They're pretty obvious, aren't they? The League has prepared some of the questions, but we also invite the audience to write questions on index cards and give them to one of the timekeepers, and they'll pass them on to me. If the questions that have already been prepared are not adequate to address your concerns. So the order of candidates answering questions will be alternated, and there will be no rebuttals. This is not a debate, it really is a forum. Following the questions, each candidate shall have 1 minute for a closing statement in reverse order from the opening statements. And our timers this evening, as I said, are Gretchen and Jan, and we have Patrice, who is recording and also live streaming us. I think I'm right there, aren't I? You are. When I stop talking, it'll be somebody else. Now, let's begin with our first candidate. I'm going to start with you, Ryan. If you could begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Hi, hello, my name is Ryan Sedgley. I'm 39 years old. I live in Montrose, Colorado with my wife, Nicole, who's wonderfully here in the room with me tonight, and our old adopted hound dog, April. Yeah, she's great. I'm running for the board because I believe that our kids and our grandkids deserve a livable future. And that DMEA is well positioned to do a lot of good in our community, not just providing electricity and internet, but I think we can go further. We can use the power and the resources of the co-op and its membership to benefit our community's lives and, you know, reduce prices on electricity, make it more reliable and more resilient in a rapidly changing climate with more extreme weather and unstable political conditions. I think we're really well set up for that, and DMEA is lucky to have such a good power system, good employees. We have an internet system that goes with it really well too. And we have lots and lots of great solar access and geothermal energy right beneath our feet.
Thank you. We're going to skip Toby for now. Hopefully he'll be here soon. In the meantime, I'm going to read Jesse Hayward's opening statement. Greetings. I am Jesse Hayward, and I am honored to present myself as a candidate for the DMEA board. Montrose has been my home for generations, with my family's roots extending back to the 1880s. This deep connection to our community fuels my belief in the power of public service, motivating me to offer my skills and experience to address our energy challenges. For the past 27 years, I have served as an electrician, and for the last 18 years as a contractor. This extensive background in the electrical field is a cornerstone of my candidacy. My work has ranged from large-scale projects in the Front Range to collaborating closely with DMEA over 15 years on Montrose County building expansions. This hands-on experience has equipped me with a nuanced understanding of our local energy landscape, making me well-suited for this role. As Montrose continues to evolve, it is imperative that we equip ourselves with the knowledge necessary to make informed decisions about our energy future. The shifting dynamics, such as the increasing adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy sources like solar power, present both opportunities and challenges for our community. I am committed to ensuring that as we progress, we do so with foresight and prudence. One concern that weighs heavily on my mind is the strain on our grid posed by these changes. While I support initiatives like solar energy integration, I recognize the importance of ensuring that our grid remains robust and affordable. We must explore solutions that balance sustainability with grid reliability and cost effectiveness. Looking ahead, I foresee another challenge on the horizon, the eventual expiration of warranties and government rebates on solar systems. Without a proactive plan in place, this could lead to a decline in our grid's efficiency and reliability. I advocate for the implementation of a recurring program that empowers DMEA members to upgrade their systems, ensuring the longevity and vitality of our grid infrastructure. In conclusion, I stand before you ready and eager to serve our community on the DMEA board. With a steadfast commitment to collaboration, innovation, and fiscal responsibility, I am confident in our ability to navigate the complexities of our energy landscape and secure a prosperous future for Montrose. There you go. Okay, Mr. Norris.
Thank you. My name is Ken Norris. I'm a 4th generation North Fork native. I graduated from Somerset Grade School, Paonia High School, Mesa State College. I got my engineering degree from CSU, my MBA degree from the University of Colorado Graduate School of Business. I am running based on low cost, high reliability electricity and internet. I previously served 4 3-year terms on the board of DMEA. I was secretary, treasurer, and vice president. I have been the Montrose County manager for 7 years. I was the engineering manager at Russell Stover Candies. I was the acting president of Colorado Youth Electric Association, which was the wholesale power supplier for DMEA and 13 other member co-ops prior to Tri-State and Goose. During that time, I was also project engineer on Craig 1 and 2 and Hayden 2 for over $1 billion. I have extensive national experience on renewables. I was a member of the Electric Power Research Institute Renewable Resource Committee. I was an original Solar One board member in Barstow, California. I was a member of the Southwest Solar Repowering Institute in El Paso. I was a member of the Raft River. I also was a member of 17 other boards of directors in DMEA. Please go to the DMEA website, look at directors and bios, and you'll see a full description of my qualifications. I also left a couple of flyers with a bio right by the door if you would like to do that. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Matheny.
I assume this is already on. So thank you for coming out. To me, this is what makes a cooperative so powerful. The fact that we get to vote for our own folks and all that kind of stuff. And everybody's seen my bio, and it's available if you want to go. I've actually created a website, kind of a techie nerd, so I created my own website, Steve Matheny 4 DMEA with the number 4. So you can read about all those things. And the other thing I'd comment on is how cool is that we have a lot of really qualified candidates. I think in our communities, we have such a diverse population. It's really great to see all the different folks. But, you know, my main thing is, so Steve Matheny has been on the staff as your engineer since 1981. I retired in 2018. So I got to see all the things when we started with the technology of Colorado U, demand side management, transmission, all the way through the smart grid, through renewables, our first solar garden, all the things that we've done, including Elevate. So that was some of the work that I did before I retired. I couldn't stay retired very long, so now I'm the director of the Montrose campus of Colorado Mesa University and CFU Tech. So that's what I do in the daytime. But to me, what the members really want is hot showers, cold beer, and fast internet. I mean, at the end of the day, we can talk about all this stuff. I have a master's degree in electrical engineering, blah, blah, blah. What people really want is affordable and sustainable electricity and internet. And that's really what a board member does, is to see that the staff is equipped to generate the right policies and hire the right people to make sure that those things happen. I've been appointed by the board, as of November. I'm on the board currently, so I'm an incumbent, and I'd ask for your vote. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Coming through okay? All right, so good afternoon. It's great to be in the North Fork. My name is Kevin Williams, and I'm running for the District 5 board seat. Unopposed for some reason. I think I must have scared people away, I'm not sure. So I want to focus for my opening remarks. So my spouse, Brenda, and I live in Montrose. We've been in Montrose for 40 years. And our daughter, who was born and raised there and graduated from Montrose High. I want to focus my opening comments on 4 reasons why you should be proud of Delta Montrose Electric Association. I actually have a much longer list, and if you want to talk after the meeting, I'd be happy to. So one is, you can count on DMEA to provide a reliable supply of electricity day in and day out, and we're proud of our track record. And the board and the staff are committed to implementing a robust risk management plan to ensure reliability. And that includes everything from planning for extreme weather events, fire, cybersecurity risks, etc. When the DMEA board decided to switch wholesale power providers in 2021, it reduced our wholesale power costs by 20%, which has allowed us to keep our electric rates stable for the last 5 years. Xcel Energy, the largest IOU in Colorado, 38% rate increase in the last 5 years, FYI. Roughly 38% of our energy mix is renewables, with the addition of the Garnet Mesa Solar Project here in Delta County, that's gonna push our mix into the mid-40s. And we have tentatively planned a groundbreaking ceremony on July 23rd, so stay tuned for the Garnet Mesa. And I would also like to say that we have an application pending with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to build our own 20 megawatt solar and 20 megawatt storage project in Delta County, so stay tuned. And lastly, our high-speed internet network, Elevate, is financially stable. It's built for the future. We have secured $61 million in state and federal grant funds to bring fiber internet to our members in Delta and Montrose counties. By the end of this year, we're going to reach 82% of our members, and the board has set a goal of reaching every single member by 2027. And there's more where that came from.
That's terrific, thank you. I can't tell if this is on.
I like it.
Does that?
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Welcome, Mr. Romero. Are you prepared to give your opening statement?
I'm prepared as ever. Good evening, everybody, and I apologize for being late. Traffic was crazy getting out of Montrose. Took me longer to get out of Montrose than it did for me to get from Montrose to Delta. Anyhow, my name is Toby Romero. I, local from Montrose. I grew up in Olathe, Colorado, graduated Olathe, went into the service after I graduated in 1972. Was out in 1975, served 2.5 years overseas. After I got out of service, I used my GI Bill to go to school. I went to 1 year in school in Albuquerque, at a vocational technical school. And after that, I went to school in Cortez, Colorado, vocational technical school for solid state, and, motor control and motors. And after that, I went to work in Kremlin, Colorado, by Kremlin, Colorado, for if you guys might know some of the names, Climax Metals, the Climax mine by the Leadville. We was a sister company to that. And I worked there for almost 16.5 years, hired in as an apprentice. As I left, I was electrical supervisor for the mill site. During that time, I had a lot of extensive practical application, motor control and switching. After that, I hired on with Tri-State GNT. I worked out in Craig, Colorado. I worked hired in as a journeyman electrician. And after 5 years, I became the electrical supervisor and then the electrical planner and scheduler, where I worked a lot with linemen and public service, all kinds of vendors. We had 450 megawatt units. And I got 30 seconds, she said, so. But I was also a substation journeyman, and I worked a lot in substations, and I know a lot about electrical and the whole thing, so I bring a lot of practical experience, and I'm very good at talking usually to other people.
Thank you. Now we'll begin the questions. And I'm going to start again with you. The first question is, how have you prepared to serve on the DMEA board?
Yeah, thank you. Well, so I have a law degree from the University of Wyoming, which has really helped me to understand some of the ins and outs of what it means to serve on the board as a fiduciary, dealing with some of the regulations and management of an organization like that. I have been researching into DMEA and trying to understand it and what are the important issues going on at the organization, because it's good to be able to transition into that. I've also been keeping up on technology, what's going on in the industry, what's happening with our grid and in our communities, what are the needs that we have, so that we can meet those future needs, and really more than meet those needs, exceed them, and use energy as a driving force in our community to have a resilient, strong, supercharged economy.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. You just have 1 minute on each of these questions.
Question one.
The question is, sorry, let me look at that. How have you prepared to serve on the DMEA board?
Well, I have 33 years of experience in the electrical field. I have 8 years of overseeing substation maintenance to include every kind of switch, every relay, and I've worked on every kind of transformer that's out there. I've also supervised people, I've had a lot of interaction with vendors and all different trades. I know what's going on, I know the procedures as far as the governmental procedure, because there's, two governmental procedures that are NERC and PERC, and I've had a lot of practical experience with those government regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Thank you. Well, my preparation began very early. My dad operated the Oliver Power Plant at both Somerset to provide electricity to Somerset, Paonia, Cedar Edge, Austin, and Hotchkiss. Other than that, my 7 years as Montrose County Manager allowed me to learn a little more about participating with all kinds of governmental agencies, other people, and as well as being a power user. Probably Colorado Electric Association, where I was acting president, and I was also in charge of all the power system studies, where we studied how to make power reliable to all 14 member systems with about a 15% reserve margin. That was very useful. And then also my 4 consecutive 3-year terms already on the board of Delta Montrose Electric Association was very useful.
Mr. Matheny.
Sure. In terms of preparation, been going to DMEA board meetings since, September of 1983, as an engineer. So I've been to a lot of board meetings and seen a lot of annual meetings and all those things. So, but that's all from the staff side. And I think what's important really is, as a board member, you really don't need the technical skills. What's really important about a board member is that they set the tone for the trajectory of the organization in terms of innovation, in terms of policy and how they interpret laws and regulations. There's a lot of staff and a lot of smart people that work at DMEA. We have some amazing employees, still do, always have. And what's really important is that the board then listens to its membership, incorporates those rules and regulations, and make sure that the CEO carries out those activities so that we remain on that trajectory that the membership really set us out to do. That's how we ended up with renewable power. This gentleman to my right was very influential many years ago with Stu Krebs and Chuck Worley, and some of you may know those names, helped mold and shape the policies of DMEA. So they come from the members to the board, set policy, and then those move forward like that. That's how I put it.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. I'm sorry, Mr. Williams.
How am I prepared to serve? Well, the short answer is I'm prepared to devote the time, and I can tell you it does take a lot of time to serve on the board. It's a big responsibility. Somebody asked me when I first joined the board if it was like drinking from a garden hose, and I said, no, it's more like drinking from the Gunnison Tunnel. What's important to me is I strive to do my homework. I ask plenty of questions, and I try to examine all sides of an issue. We have a lot of folks in our 2 counties that are struggling to make ends meet. And one question I always ask myself is, how will my decisions as a board member impact the people who live in our service area, and especially those who are struggling to make ends meet? I'll stop there.
Okay, this next question, I'm going to start with Mr. Romero. And the question is, what do you see as the greatest strength of DMEA?
And that's by far the greatest strength of DMEA is its employees, the professionalism that they carry through, the way they provide service, maintenance, make sure that the lights stay on. When you're getting up at night and you need to turn the light switch on, it comes on. That's because you got people who are very professional and very intelligent and know what they're doing out there. And that's its greatest strength.
Now, Mr. Norris.
I think the greatest strength of DMEA comes from its organizational structure, how it was set up originally as an REA, with giving the members a say in what went on, Originally, yeah, it was governed by the Colorado Public Utilities Commission, where they made a lot of the major decisions. Scott McGinnis and I, back in, many years ago, participated in an effort and deregulated, all of the co-ops. So DMEA then was regulated by its board of directors. And as you know, its board of directors is regulated by all of the members. So by doing that, it took a lot of the governance from Denver and Washington to the ground roots and to the membership and then to the directors. So I think that's a major strength.
Thank you, Mr. Matheny.
Sure. DME has a lot of strengths and they've been mentioned before. So, employees, obviously, the safety, practices and records that we have there are super important to make sure that employees are safe. One of the things that I've found over the years, is we have a supportive membership. It's a very diverse membership all the way from, from Paonia and up here in the land of the hippies, we always said, right? But it's different in Crawford, it's different in Mayor, it's different in Montrose, but all of them are important. And so how do we meet all of those needs all at the same time? So that's supportive membership, but we also have, Western Colorado values, which makes us strong, right? But finally, we also have a really great electric network. I happen to know the person that helped design a lot of that. And we also have a really solid and robust fiber network, and a supportive board to go with that. So it's really a great mix in our membership that allows us to solicit the input and then act on that input and implement that.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Gosh, again, DMEA has a lot of strengths. I think the greatest strength of DMEA is that it is a member-owned cooperative. And I'm really passionate about transparency and member engagement. I'm thrilled that you all decided to come out this afternoon for this forum. I would like to see much greater engagement among our members. Last year, guess what percentage of our members actually voted? 10%. And to me, that is disappointingly low, and I'd like to see that increase a lot. We are offering online voting this year, so we'll see how that goes. You can also vote by mail and come to the annual meeting. And we also make our packets and financial reports available online for our members through Smart Hub. And I believe we're the only co-op in Colorado that does that. And of course, our employees. We have the best employees on the planet, and they keep the lights on and they keep our reliable electricity.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgwick.
Thank you. I agree that DMEA has a lot of strengths. But I think the biggest strength is its membership, because this is a democracy. DMEA is a democracy. It's member owned, and it is a really powerful thing to do that. I've worked for a nonprofit and I've worked for nonprofits in the past. I know that model and really enjoy it and see that it becomes a mission-driven organization, and that the mission of DMEA really is to serve its community, make sure the lights come on, the internet's working, and help empower our communities to thrive. But I think beyond just its membership, DMEA has a really solid electrical grid. It has a really strong fiber network. Those things are only growing and becoming better with time. And our talented staff and folks working for DMEA are, for improving that and keeping it running. One of the final things is the vision of DMEA. DMEA has always had a vision and seen the future and been willing to take risks, calculated risks that I think have benefited our community, such as the Elevate Internet Network.
Thank you. Mr. Norris, we'll start the next question with you.
Okay.
And it is, what was your primary motivation to run for the position you are seeking?
Okay, one of my primary motivations has been to take care of the membership. We have so many members that are just terribly poor. They have trouble even getting clothing for the children that go to school. They have trouble getting food on the table in this period of inflation. They're having a hard time. And I figure if I can do anything with my education and experience to ease that burden I will be happy to do that. I think I have a lot to contribute to the board. I have a very strong business background in MBA from the University of Colorado Graduate School of Business. I have used those skills over and over, and I think that by using those skills in addition to all of the technical skills at DMEA, it will be better.
Thank you. Your turn. Mr. McKinney.
So the primary motivation that I had was, when, the then president, stepped down last July, I think it was. The board sent out a notice that who wants to apply to be appointed to the board. And I thought, this is a good chance for me to, I don't want somebody to get on the board that's gonna take it in some trajectory where we're gonna lose altitude. Spent my whole career at DMEA, making sure that we did the things that our members wanted, the reliable power. And so I said, I'll put my hat in the ring and see what happens. And so the board appointed me to do that. I remember one of my longtime mentors, Jesse Grett, who was the president, dairy farmer, of DMEA. When he left and retired from the board, he said, Steve, just don't screw it up. So that's kind of what let's not just screw it up.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Gosh, my primary motivation, Brenda and I love Western Colorado. We've been here 40 years. We care about our communities, and I care deeply about the cooperative model, if you can't tell already from my earlier comments. And I just think it's a terrific model. And we have so much to offer our communities in terms of the local economy and health and making sure that rates are reliable and affordable, et cetera. So that's why I'm on board.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgley.
So my wife and I have been trying to have a kid, and as we have been looking down that direction, looking into the future, I'm looking at all the changes that are happening around, and I resolved myself to waking up every single day to do something to help create a better livable future for that young person. And it has changed me. I see every little young person like when we have in the room here today. And I think that's why I'm here, because that little person deserves a future where they can thrive. And so that is my primary motivation. I'm also a power nerd. I've worked in power plants. I used to work in nuclear power plants as a mechanic. I worked on valves and valve operators. And I just really find it interesting. I've lived and worked on power plants off grid, including home systems and a really unique one at the South Pole Station, which is diesel generators and stuff. But it's about the future.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Well, I'm at a point in my life where I'm retired, but I want to be able to give back to my community. And I want to be able to spend time to make sure that people like my grandfather, who was a farmer, dairy guy, and all the different kinds of people out there like that can afford to maintain their family businesses, no matter how rural it might be. I think it's important that we look forward and make sure that everyone who is a member of this will in the future have affordable and reliable power. And that's why I'm doing this, is because I want to be sure that I have some input. And I think I have good skills, interpersonal skills, and I have great actual knowledge of how things work. And I think I can really provide some input.
Thank you. Mr. Matheny, we'll start with you for this next question. If elected to the board, are there changes you would work to bring about, and what are they?
Somehow we've managed to disassemble our microphone, so hopefully it still works. Kevin. So there's always things we can improve upon. You know, the industry is changing so fast. Obviously, now that we're under a new power supply contract and we have the opportunity to do more renewables, we have to optimize that in our service territory. We have a lot of opportunities in our area to take advantage of those things. So leveraging grants and other opportunities to help us with that, I think, is super important. And I think the other thing that's gonna happen, you know, is that we're gonna have to work on as we go forward is we have some pressing legislation driving, you know, EVs in and driving fossil fuels out, which is gonna create an equation that's gonna have to be solved. And it's gonna take a lot of smart people working together, you know, with regulators and legislators to solve that problem. It's not that the problem shouldn't be solved, but that's gonna take some real work. So we have to work on that.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Oh, gosh, well, changes, again, won't surprise you to hear from me that I would really like to see a much greater degree of member engagement and involvement in the co-op. And I think there are things we can do to encourage that. I think we have a very robust vegetation management program, and with extreme weather events, I think that's gonna be really critical that we stay on top of that, you know, in terms of things that we need to stay on top of. And then as Steve mentioned, I think there are just so many challenges and opportunities coming down the pipe in terms of the transformation of the energy industry. And I want to hit on a few of those in my closing comments, but you know, I think it's been a board that's forward thinking and that's looking ahead and is willing to take some risks, like risks that we took when we started our Elevate internet subsidiary. So.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgwick.
Yeah, well, first, I'm really excited if I'm elected to be sitting on a board that has brought this organization so far along. It's in a really good place and has a really good functioning board, just lovely. Some of the changes that I think could happen, I really do deal with a changing world and a changing need for energy and how we get our energy. And I think DMEA has a really big opportunity to get into the power producing business. It's situated really well for what's called a virtual power plant, which would enable solar power to be generated across our cities, connected with our fiber network. It makes it all work with local and individual storage. They could not only make our power less expensive and make it more reliable and resilient to weather events and outages of any kind, because the lights will stay on everywhere, or at least stay on in places, protecting those who need the electricity most, people with health issues or dealing with age and heat and cold.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Well, first, I think I would have to get in and understand what's going on and familiarize myself with everything but looking at the organization already, it is a forward-thinking and progressive organization as far as trying to deal with its members. I think I would just want to look at what's going on and educate myself and see what I could offer. I have, again, a lot of practical experience. I think that we do need to look at new, innovative supplies for energy and how we're going to manage that and how you're going to transmit that to all the members in an affordable way.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Well, not having been on the board for a while, I don't know exactly all of the details of how it functions, but I will be interested in feasibility studies. In other words, looking at both the technical and the financial end of decisions that are made, not just today or tomorrow, but projected over lifetimes of 10 years, 15, 20 years, and then sharing that information with the membership. That's, I think where you have to start. You have to look at the assumptions and you have to do the modeling and get everybody to agree that the risks are acceptable and that you're doing a good job from the technical end of it as well as from the financial end of it. And that also involves, you know, the financing rates, the types of electricity supply, and all of those factors.
Thank you. We will start this next question with you, Mr. Williams. It is, how should DMEA and its board work with county commissioners to support integration of alternative energy projects to decrease the area's carbon footprint?
Wow. Well, we have some history in Delta County of working with the county commissioners. So most of you, I assume, are aware of the Garnet Mesa Solar Project. And I mentioned in my opening comments that we're tentatively planning a groundbreaking ceremony on July 23rd. And, maybe to share that example, when the commissioners first considered that project, they denied it. And, we went back to the drawing board and DMEA, I think, stepped up and committed to do more outreach in the community, and really talk to people about their concerns. And I believe that because of the work that DMEA invested in that, that ultimately we got to a place where the county commissioners felt good about the project. It's an agrivoltaic project, so we're gonna, incorporate agriculture into it. And it was just a process of working, listening to the commissioners, addressing their concerns, and ultimately getting to a point where they could support it. And I think that's how we need to work with our elected officials in both counties.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgley.
Yeah, this area really excites me. There's so much that can be done in our counties and with our county commissioners. I mentioned the virtual power plant idea, but beyond that, there's geothermal potential that is massive in this area. Both hot geothermal systems that generate electricity, but also cold systems that work like heat pumps, that can lower the costs for heating and cooling businesses and homes, which means lowering your bills every month. So I think those are two areas where some big improvements could be made. I think working with the county to figure out how to do that, but particularly with the geothermal aspect of it, would be a massive improvement. The other thing is home efficiency, business efficiency, building efficiency, and really electrifying buildings and working with both the county, the federal and local governments to do that, really layering the impact that we can have with every dollar invested. So if you're installing solar panels, well, maybe you install a new roof and an electric panel too, that brings it up to code and makes it safer, which protects the community and the homeowner.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
I think the question is how we're going to work with the county commissioners. I think to begin with, you gotta have some open communication, you gotta have some realistic ideas of what you can and cannot do, and you gotta try and articulate what we think that needs to be done and understand what they want. And we need to find common ground and just work. It's a very common sense type thing, just work together and see what's best for our members.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Thank you. As county manager of Montrose County for 7 years, I held that position about twice as long as any other county manager. So I have quite a few skills dealing with county commissioners. During that tenure, there were 4 different combinations of Montrose County managers. It takes quite a few people skills, but the other thing is a lot of honesty, and the other thing is to be sure that you deal with the staff. So the staff will help recommend to the county commissioners what needs to be done, because ultimately the county commissioners have 2 employees. They have a county manager and a county attorney. And if that county manager with its employees recommends against the project, there's no way the commissioners will approve it. So I think we have to be smart, we have to work with the staff, get them convinced, and then I think it'll work well with the commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that we'll have to deal with in all the counties and all across Colorado, actually, but I oversimplify things, but I think it helps people understand them. Sometimes you have to identify the problem. What are we trying to accomplish when we're gonna reduce our footprint? And then what do those opportunities look like? What can we do here locally? Is it transportation? Is it, reduced power plants? Is it more solar? Is it, what is it that we can do? And then I think you gather that information and you actually go through the analysis necessary, and then you put together options. And that's when the county commissioners come in and say, okay, these are the options that you're trying to address to solve the problems. And then you have workshops so that the community can buy in and understand, okay, this is what we're trying to solve. These are the options that we're going to try to accomplish that with. And this is how we're going to move forward. So it really takes a lot of those open and transparent approaches, I think.
Thank you. That was our last prepared question. Was there anything from the audience? Seeing none, we will go to, is there some? No. Seeing none, we will go to, closing statements. You each will have 2 minutes, and I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Williams, and go this way.
Okay, great. So we have a lot of reasons to be proud of the DMEA, but as you've heard from the candidates up here, the electric industry is in the midst of a major transformation. So some of the challenges and opportunities that I think are facing the DMEA include, and this is by no means all of them, ensuring there's enough power to meet peak demand. It's called resource adequacy. Considering the needs for improvements to our distribution system to meet increasing electricity loads. Planning for the continued growth of distributed energy resources and technologies. Interesting fact, we have almost 2,000 rooftop solar systems in the DME system right now. 2,000 of our members have rooftop solar. And I want to echo the importance of energy efficiency because I think it's the largest, cheapest, and safest way to keep our members' electric bills stable and to also deal with carbon emissions. So the next 10 years are going to be a decade of major change. And at DMEA, we need to continue to adapt. We need to be forward thinking, all while providing reliable and affordable rates. And the board's leadership is critical in that regard. And none of that would be possible without the dedication and hard work of every single one of our employees. So my door is always open. I love to hear from members. Often if I hear from members, it's because they have a concern, but that's okay too. You own DMEA. This is your co-op. Your voice matters. I encourage you to contact your board members. Let us know what's on your mind. Any concerns you have, what you're thinking about, where you think we should be going as a co-op, and come to a board meeting. We love to have members come to board meetings and talk to us about what's on their mind. And I ask for your vote in the upcoming election.
Thanks,
Steve.
I think it's super important that we have this open up, honest conversation at the co-op. The membership has already invested in me, over all these years. I know the system pretty well from nooks and crannies. But what's more important, I think, is that a good board member asks really good questions. And trust me, I have really, really good questions like that, because I've been on both sides of the equation. But in all fairness, it's challenging your staff sometimes to do the impossible. And we have to get creative. I mean, if you think about 25% of the electric usage in the United States is for street lights. How stupid is that? Right? My car has headlights. We don't need street lights. We need pedestrian lighting. We need subtle lighting. We need things like that. So I think it's going to take some creativity over time. I think it's going to take board members that have had the opportunity to see what's happened in time and how we're going to adapt to future regulations and future challenges that are going to be facing us. And I agree with Ryan, having little ones in the back motivates you to do things right for the people that are going to be here long after we're gone. So that's what I think needs to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
I guess I would have to say that membership is king. I think we need to continue to have more and more meetings regarding membership, have the directors try to make more contacts with membership, find out really what they're thinking, what the majority of them want. And I know, we talk about low cost, we talk about high reliability, but with that, as we go down different paths and look at different alternatives, I think it is important that we have an open communication with the members to see how they feel. A lot of the decisions that we're forced to make, we don't know. We have an idea, our best engineering guess, our best business guess of what to do. But many of the members have just as good of an idea as we do. So I think as directors, we need the background of the members to get kind of a gut feel for where the co-op needs to be going. And, a lot of it starts with a great staff, and having them do all the proper studies and do all the numbers and the number crunching and all the nerd activities. But then I think it's up to the board to get that information to go to the public, go to the membership and share with them what's going on, so that as we do different projects, we have the members in agreement. And I know that that's a huge issue. Since the REA system was started in the 1930s, that has always been probably the major issue. And I just think, we need to spend more and more time on doing that so that the members truly run DMEA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Closing statements would be that I think everybody here has highlighted the need for forward thinking and progressive thoughts going forward and taking care of staff, but my thoughts are, I want to be an interface with the members. I want to be more connected to them and get more of their input, and I want to be that person who talks to you and brings back ideas to the board. And I want to be able to be open at any time somebody wants to talk. I want to be able to take care of your needs and represent you as members. That's what I would like to do, and that's why I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgley.
I think we can all agree that there's a lot happening in the world and in our country, energy wise, and just in general. There's a lot that we can't control. But one thing that we can control is how we generate our electricity, how we communicate and use our internet systems here, and how we shape the world around us in this little part of our world. I think DMEA has the power to be a partner with other government agencies or local governments to transform our community, make us more resilient, and bring new industry to our region that makes it so we have stable and higher paying jobs and raise people out of poverty. At the same time, decarbonizing our electrical system, making energy cheaper, more resilient, and building a brighter future. So I would ask that you vote for me and help me build a brighter future for our community. Please vote for me, Brian Sedgley. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Uncahway Valley, I want to thank you all for running for office. This is a really big deal. You know how hard it is to get people to step up, and we've got qualified candidates here. I also want to thank the audience for showing up. And for those people that are seeing the recording, thank you for tuning in. For further information about upcoming forums, candidates, or other events, please visit our league website. And there you'll find information about a link to a recording of this forum, as well as links to other sources of information about upcoming elections, starting June 25th. Complete information on elections nationwide is also available on the league's vote411.org. I think you all got a little card on your, chairs and table. Okay. Members of the League of Women Voters are volunteers who do the hands-on work to empower voters and defend democracy. While we never endorse a candidate, we are directly involved in shaping important issues to keep our community strong. If you would like to be involved with the men and women of the League to help make our democracy work, it's easy to join. We've got some membership information in the back. We encourage you to visit our website, visit us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and X. This is a big election year. The deadline to register to receive a mail ballot is June 3rd for the June 25th primary election. All 8 of Colorado's congressional districts will have candidates on the ballot. If you have moved or changed your name, wish to change your party affiliation, or register online, go to the Secretary of State's website, which is called govotecolorado.org, govotecolorado.org. Remember, you may vote by mail or in person with an ID up to and including Election Day. The best citizens also encourage their family, friends, and neighbors to vote. Have a good evening. Thanks so much.
Can I ask a question real quick?
I've got a question from the audience here. Yes.
Would you remind us what areas you represent in the districts? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Ryan Sedgley, and I would be representing District 1, which is basically core Montrose and up Highway 50 a bit.
My name is Toby Raro, and I'll be representing District 1. And hopefully representing you.
Okay, I'm Ken Norris, representing District 2, which is basically kind of the area between Olathe and Montrose. I guess primarily on the west side of the road.
I would echo what Ken says, but interestingly enough, if DMEA, unlike some other co-ops, you're actually, you live in the district that you sign up for, but you represent the entire membership. In certain co-ops, you can only vote for those directors that are in your district. At DMEA, it's wonderful because we diversify the candidates, but from where you live. So I live not too far from Ken, in just northwest of Montrose. And that goes all the way to west to the Tabawatch Trail and public lands up to the Olathe County line. But it's important for you to know, you vote for all directors, it's just where you live. So we try to have, you're required to be in your district to run.
So I represent District 5, which is southwest Montrose. So for those of you who are familiar with Montrose, it would be Cobble Creek, Happy Canyon, Spring Creek Mesa. Basically of that whole area south and west of Montrose is my district. And I have a joke. Can I
Okay,
tell a joke?
we've got a minute.
So we talked about Excel Energy raising their rates 38%. The question is, how does Excel Energy, our largest investor-owned utility, differ from a dumpster fire? And the answer is, a dumpster fire provides affordable heat and light.
Thank you so much. Okay, on that note, we will say goodnight.